Hello, welcome to my Pokemon Generations tag video. So there are like a couple rules for this thing, and I'm just gonna say right now, the last one's like, tag 3 friends to carry on the tag. I'm not fucking doing that. But why? Why aren't you doing that? Because I'm lazy, and I can't think of 3 people to tag. Anyways, I'll go over the rest of the rules right now. So, the rules for this little tag video thing are, Number 1, name one favorite Pokemon from each generation of games. So that'd be obviously one from each gen. Describe why you like and chose that Pokemon, and choose one thing that you're hoping for in a new generations of Pokemon, whatever, that was weirdly put. So I guess I'll get started with this. So let's go straight off the bat with my favorite Pokemon of all time in Gen 1, Gengar. I fucking love Gengar. Ever since I originally started playing Pokemon, I've always had a special interest in Gengar because I always like the creepier, the ghost, like those type of Pokemon. I always like the creepier, the darker, the weirder type Pokemon. I was never really a fan of like the bright, just, oh, super cute Pokemon. I was more so interested in the more weird Pokemon, basically. And Gengar fell into that category, and I always took a special interest in Gengar. In fact, for a very, very long time, I've actually had like a little Gengar plushie. Like, I've had it for a very long time. I mean, years upon years upon years. I'm trying to remember how long ago. Might be over a decade, but maybe that's a bit of exaggeration. You get the point, though. It's been a very, very lengthy amount of time, and it's actually kind of insane. But since the start, I've basically liked Gengar, and that has not changed whatsoever. On top of that, it's actually a really, really good Pokemon, aside from the fact that it's kind of sort of weak to Psychic, like horribly weak to Psychic. But regardless of that, I don't know. I've always loved Gengar. Gengar is my favorite Pokemon of all time. Blah, 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 whatever. Gentoo! I spoke about this a lot on Twitter recently. Follow me on Twitter, by the way. @lunatic_guy. But my favorite starter of all time, and now also my favorite Gen 2 Pokemon, is Totodile. And I'll be honest, there's not much sort of reasoning behind it aside from the fact that I love Totodile's design. Something about it. And also the fact that Totodile, all the way up until Feraligatr, like all throughout it, it's only one solid type, and even with only being one solid type, it manages to be a really, really good Pokemon. Like, you see most starters only being good when they're like, oh, 2 types is firefighting or whatever the hell. But Totodile, at least in my opinion, and the rest of its evolutions are all really solid in design, really solid in just battling in general, and just overall are some of the best starters. Also, I was never really a fan of Cyndaquil and or Chikorita, especially Chikorita. God, no, fuck Chikorita. Chikorita's garbage. But I don't know, I like Totodile. Also, I love the I love the voice they gave him in the anime where it was like, what was it? It was like something like that. It was something weird like that, and I always loved it. It's just like, oh my god, it's Totodile. Like, I don't know. I love Totodile. Gen 3, and here's another one that's just weird, but I love as well. So I actually like quite a lot of Pokemon in Gen 3, I'll be honest. It's not my favorite gen by any means. In fact, what's funny is the fact that my favorite starter comes from the generation I hate the most, which is Gen 2. Like, Gen 3, I don't know, there were some Pokemon I liked, but for some reason, this Pokemon in particular has always resonated well with me, and that is Pelipper. Now, you're probably like, what the hell, Pelipper? Like, you're probably like, dude, there's so many better Pokemon, and it's just like, I know, but Pelipper, dude, I love Pelipper. Look at him, he's so fucking ridiculous and goofy, and I just love him. Like, how can you not love Pelipper? On top of that, he's just a fun Pokemon to use, mostly just to mess around, because, just look at Pelipper! Dude, how can you hate Pelipper? How? It's impossible. If you hate Pelipper, you hate yourself, probably. Gen 4. Here's one that's another one of my more favorite Pokemon now. Gen 4 had a lot of those Pokemon where it's just like, oh, they were evolutions from previous Pokemon, and this is one of my favorites, Weavile. Now, Sneasel was an okay Pokemon. I thought it was decent. Its design was a bit on the weird side, but at the same time I liked it. But Weavile came in and said, hey, you know that Pokemon that you kind of sort of liked? Yeah. Now it's like 10 times fucking cooler. And Weavile is just, everything about it is cool. Its design, its typing, albeit the fact that it's like quad weak to fighting. Just overall, Weavile is a Pokemon I've always really liked ever since I originally played Gen 4 way back when. And I don't know, the fact that another one of my, like, this isn't a part of the tag, but the fact that it also sort of connects up to one of my favorite gym leaders and, like, just overall one of my favorite typings for gyms, which is Ice, and another one of my favorite gym leaders is Candice, haha, get it? But I don't know, I always liked Weavile, mostly because it just is cool as shit in every single way possible, so I was just like, dude, I love this Pokemon. Gen 5! Now, hopefully some of you saw this coming, if not, then shame on you. Bouffalant. I'm saying Bouffalant. Now you're probably like, oh, why do you like this Pokemon? Because this is basically an accurate representation of me if I were in a Pokemon game, to be honest. Like, dude, I love Bouffalant's design. The big-ass fucking afro, it's so hilarious. It's like somebody took Tauros and gave this man, like, hair gel, like hair growing tonic or whatever, but it's... I love Bouffalant. And it's just like, over the past couple months, I've come to appreciate Bouffalant more as opposed to when I originally played it, and it's become a very big favorite of mine, also simply due to the fact that, you know, it is, as I said, a very accurate representation of me in Pokemon. And last but not least for generations, Gen 6, we have Esper. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I love the more weird and creepy looking Pokemon, and let me tell you something about Esper. Esper is fucking very creepy to look at. At the same time, Esper is a bit adorable, but those eyes look into your goddamn soul, and don't even lie, they do. Something about it, I don't know, I just always liked Esper from the very start. I did not like Meowstic whatsoever. I did not like it at all. But Esper, something about it just sat well with me. The fact that it's like, what, pure psychic? And it's just this really odd Pokemon that, like, there's a lot of weird shit surrounding it as well. It's just like, dude, that is my thing right there. Because as I said, I like the weirder Pokemon, I like the darker, creepier Pokemon, and Esper falls into basically all of those categories. Plus it's kind of cute, plus it's a cat. I like cats over dogs. Fuck dogs, don't actually do that to your dog. But yeah, Esper, favorite, Gen 6. And now for the thing I'm hoping for in a new gen. Guess what, I got more than one, so you ready to hear me rant about this? Great, too bad, I'm gonna do it anyways. So, one big thing I'm hoping for in a new gen is a better champion. Now you might be like, oh, what do you mean by that? Diantha was a shit champion in every way. I hated Diantha. She appeared in the story twice, and then, oh, guess what? I'm champion. Guess what? She wasn't even a challenge. I hated Diantha as a champion, and I wish she didn't exist. So hopefully, when this new gen comes out, Pokemon Sun and Moon, hopefully there's a better champion. So there's that. Another thing that I'm more intrigued about, and this also stems from the fact that I like darker and creepier Pokemon, a deeper and or darker storyline for Pokemon. Now, don't get me wrong, I have no problem with the basic setup for Pokemon stories, but they could use with a bit more to it, you know, a bit more meat in the story, so to say. Like, take for example Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Those games are dark. They're not very kiddie friendly. Let me just tell you that right now. So if like a main series Pokemon game can get that dark and that like intense, that'd be amazing. And last but not least, a better evil team. Don't get me wrong, I liked Team Flitter. They were determined to do what they set out to do, but overall, something about them just felt weird. I'll at least give them the fact they had nice fashion, especially like the admins, minus the weird bald guy. Not the bald admin guy, the weird bald scientist guy. Like, they all had real good fashion. I'll give them that, but overall, they weren't that great of an evil team, I'll be honest. But that's gonna be it for this little tag video. I don't do tag videos very often, mostly because tag videos don't really roll around all too often. But if you have enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like, as well as a comment. Be sure to subscribe if you're really feeling it. Feel free to list your favorite Pokemon, or like your one favorite Pokemon from each gen if you want to as well, because why not? Viewer interaction, dude. I'd love to see what some of you guys have to say, and I shall see you guys next time. See you.